There's some breaking news that I want to get to first, and we could hear reporters asking him about this, that the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, is postponing his trip to China. He was supposed to be traveling to China, and I believe Monday he was going to meet with Xi Jinping. So this is like a high-level meeting. And now we're hearing that that's going to be postponed. Give us the details. What have you heard?
That's right. Two diplomatic sources tell CBS News, and there's an ongoing call with State Department officials right now for reporters telling us that the Secretary of State was supposed to leave tonight for China to meet with President Xi on Monday, the first Secretary of State to do so since Mike Pompeo early in the Trump administration. That trip is now off in response to the discovery of this massive Chinese spy balloon floating somewhere now over the Midwestern United States. The president had first learned about this on Wednesday. There had been conversation about shooting it down. The Pentagon urged him not to do that. So they're monitoring it. The U.S. has now acknowledged its existence. The Chinese this morning, through their foreign ministry, saying that it's there for scientific or civilian purposes. We'll see whether or not the United States believes that. But a huge blow to the Biden administration's attempts to restart talks with China on all levels. Remember, the two leaders met last year on the sidelines of the G20 and agreed to have Secretary Blinken visit Beijing to meet with Xi and other officials to jumpstart long-stalled talks on everything from economic cooperation to China's economic espionage to climate change and, of course, concerns about Taiwan, the war in Ukraine and whatnot. And the Biden administration, since the start, has been eager to restart those talks out of concern that the two world superpowers need to at least be talking to each other on a regular basis in this way to maintain world order. So to postpone this, and note the word postpone, not cancel, can be rescheduled, but a blow to that and a design to send a diplomatic message to China that they're not happy about discovering this spy balloon.
But, you know, Ed, just to give us a little more context, it's not just about this this spy balloon, right? We've got the news earlier this week that the U.S. is expanding its military relationship cooperation with the Philippines, and you know, also the news, I think it was last week, of this memo that was leaked with a general warning those under his command that he sees a war with China in the next couple of years.
Right, there's that, and of course the Pentagon made clear that Air Force general was speaking for himself, and it wasn't the official position of the Pentagon. We could also throw in the fact that the United States has been trying to get Japan and the Netherlands and other countries to stop selling manufacturing parts to China for its semiconductor industry. So you're seeing the relationship, the yin and the yang of it, so to speak, and not to be purposeful about that, but literally there's the back and forth between these two countries in a military and economic way. And that is why there was this desire to maintain the open and official lines of diplomacy that, at least for now, have been postponed. We'll wait and hear about when exactly the Secretary of State might reschedule that trip. Notable, as you said, that he did not take shouted questions from our Wei Zhejiang and others in the room there trying to get him to talk about this situation, because there's an eagerness to figure out why it happened and why it wasn't discovered sooner and why he opted not to shoot it down. Republicans today, especially those on Capitol Hill, even former President Trump in a Truth Social tweet a little while ago suggesting it should be shot down despite any potential damage or harm to Americans on the ground.
And Ed, we're hearing from Beijing that basically they're saying this was an accident, right? And so obviously that was not enough to prevent Blinken from canceling this trip. They're not buying it.
And I think we'll wait to hear, we'll wait to hear what the State Department, the White House, the President think of that explanation as the day progresses. The President's very sensitive to speaking on China publicly because he understands that this is perhaps, next to the situation with Russia, obviously the most critical relationship and back and forth in the world right now, given that so much of the world economy and military power pivots off of these two countries. So we'll see if at some point today he comments on this. Perhaps just didn't want to do it there. The other reason I want to do it is look at this economic report this morning. This jobs report blew away expectations, far exceeding the expectation that this would happen. The unemployment rate now the lowest it's been since the late 1960s. Unemployment for black Americans down, for women it's down. Huge gains in the leisure sector, the retail, the construction sectors, all good signs of a strong economy. The only people kind of upset about this or worried, of course, are those on Wall Street. The numbers down so far this morning because of concerns that this means the Federal Reserve will keep raising interest rates to stem off inflation. And you saw him there defend his oversight or attempts to stem inflation, saying it didn't start with me, and we're doing what we can. Of course, the Federal Reserve is separate and will handle it however it sees fit, having raised things a quarter point earlier this week. So a lot on the president's plate.
Yeah.
He's coming here to Philadelphia for politics, to talk to Democrats ahead of his anticipated reelection for a meeting they hold every winter. So a little politics and a lot of official duties on his plate today.
Man, Ed O'Keefe is complete.
He is.
I mean, he covers all the bases. You ask him one question, he gives you everything. Ed, thank you so much.
Take care.